What's up, everybody? What's going on? Sorry we're late. Coming to you live from Houston, Texas tonight. So, it's like 60 degrees, so I'm dying. You want to scoot this back a little bit?
That's why I told you. So pull out the lawn chairs.
Bro, I'm cold. I'm freezing. What's up, everybody? Welcome. This is Woke Wednesdays. We do this every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight we're in Central Time.
Correct.
Central Time. Yeah, we're
So it's 8 o'clock here in.
You're getting all the hearts already, and we haven't even started. Y'all haven't even heard him talk. Like y'all already throwing out hearts. Relax. But let's get it started because
It's a delay on that. So.
He said what?
It's a little delayed on that. So.
No, yeah, it's a little delayed. It's okay. So welcome. My name is Hurston. We do this every Wednesday, like I said. I have a coat on because I'm freezing. I'm coming from Miami,
And I opened the garage.
And he opened the garage door, so it's freaking cold. Feel free to cuss because I cuss all the time.
No, that's fine.
Feel free to drink because I drink all the time.
Well, you left my drink over there. Sorry.
I didn't leave his drink over. He left his drink over there. And tonight's show is sponsored by Flor de Caña, Nicaragua's rum. So, would you like to tell us who you are? Who are you?
Hi, everyone. I've actually tuned into the show a couple times before. My name is Martinez. I'm from Nicaragua. You know, originally born and raised Nicaragua. Not like this guy that thinks he's 100% Nica and he was born in the States.
I am.
He's got the motivation, so I'll give him that. So.
But yeah, so tonight we're really excited to have you on. Thank you so much for being on the show. As I said in the promo video, Eddie was one of the people that I consider one of my big brothers, someone who I admire, someone I look up to for many reasons, and I'm really excited because I think we can learn a lot from his story, and he has a very unique story. So, as I always say, please feel free to make comments and ask questions. If you're confused about something, if you don't agree with something, please feel free to ask. Tonight's topic is the intersection of politics, immigration, and the military, and a bunch of other stuff. We want to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. So, let's start at the beginning. You were born in Nicaragua. Where is Nicaragua?
Well,
or what is Nicaragua?
Well, Nicaragua is, it's everyone knows, or if you don't know, it's a country in Central America. I was born in Nicaragua during the time that it was actually, booming for Nicaragua. Unfortunately, Nicaragua became a communist country. The FSLN, which is Frente Sandinista de Liberación Nacionales, came into power, and my father used to serve in the military, and they were looking for him to actually kill him. So my family decided to migrate to the United States. My father left first, my mother right after. They sent for my younger sister like 2 months later, and everybody, we were left with family members. And
who's waiting, like yours?
My sister and I,
Okay.
But then my parents didn't have any money to send for both of us, so they prioritized and they sent for my sister 2 months after they arrived over here. And after they sent for my sister, my uncle, may he rest in peace. I mean, this man was very hardcore. He believed in, raising his family tough. I think he whooped maybe like 3 generations. So he kicked me out of his house after my sister came to the United States.
How old were you?
I was 15.
So he kicked you out of the house?
Well, no, I was 13.
So talk to me real quick about the neighborhood that you lived in. Because in Nicaragua, like in many Latin American countries, we talk about neighborhoods, right? It's not like I'm from Nicaragua. There's no need to say that. You talk about maybe what city you're from, and then like what neighborhood you come from, right?
Well, I was in Managua. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I grew up. My parents had decent money, so I went to private school, and I didn't see none of that struggle. To me, the biggest impact was when my family lost everything, and they had to migrate into here in the United States. And
part of losing everything was the communist movement.
Correct.
Right, to kind of take things from people who had a little bit of something.
Right.
Okay.
So the biggest impact to me, personally in my life, was that whenever my parents sent for my sister, joined them here in the United States, and then you have the means, to send for me. My uncle kicked me out, and after that, I was 13. I went to an aunt's house. I started selling candy, in buses, to make ends meet, and I actually didn't join my family until September of the same year, so 9 months later.
So how'd you get here?
Well, they actually, gathered up the funds, and, they sent for me, and I was able to join them. I guess that psychological impact made me a little bit of who I am today. Very independent, I love my family. I'm very, family oriented. But I keep a distance, so to say. I'm always moving. The reason why my family lives in Miami, I live in Houston. One of the main reasons why I joined the military at a young age, and I graduated high school. At the time, I was being stubborn. I didn't want to go to school. I up and joined the military. Took it as an easy way out. And
so you come to Miami from Nicaragua. So you've been alone for 9 months in Nicaragua. Your parents sent for you. They were able to gather enough funds and get you here. And your parents are still not upper middle class. They're still pretty low socioeconomic status, right? In Miami, just got here, right? Trying to get their oldest son here. And you're going through high school in Miami. And
well, actually, when I got to Miami, it was middle school.
So you're in middle school.
Right.
So at what point did you realize? And so you didn't speak any English when you got here.
No.
So this is a.
Well, I knew bits and pieces, and I actually still remember my very first day in school here in the United States. I was in ESL. I was an ESL student.
English is a second language,
right.
Or other language speakers.
Right.
Yeah.
And back then, at the time, they used to call it ESOL.
ESOL, yeah.
All right, and my very first class was English, and the teacher was a Cuban American lady, very nice, and the lecture for that day was she was showing pictures of objects, like car, pencil, whatever, and then you blurt out the word in English. I remember she showed a picture of a school.
Yeah.
All right, I think I've told you this story.
Yeah.
And to me, I saw the signs, everybody sees, the school signs, whenever you're in the vicinity of a school. And I blurted out, as I read the sign, Shaul, Everybody just laughed at me. And then after that, I made it a point that, hey, I was not going to be embarrassed or embarrass myself. And I made it a point to learn, and it was, I was only in ESL for 2 years after coming to the United States.
So at what point how old were you when you knew you wanted to join the military?
Well, I never knew I wanted to join the military. I actually joined the military the wrong way.
What do you mean?
But it turned out to be the right way. I graduated high school. I had 2 jobs at the time.
So you did graduate from high school?
Right.
In Miami, okay.
I graduated from Coral Gables Senior High School, Go Cavaliers.
You went to high school with Pitbull?
Huh? No. I went to high school with Pitbull when I was in South Miami.
Oh, okay.
But I actually graduated from, if you're football fans, Frank Gore went to that school, Jonathan Vilma went to that school. But anyways, after I graduated high school, I didn't want to, I wanted to be stubborn. Started working, became accustomed to a little bit of money. At the time, it was all about dropping your car all the way to the ground and putting some nice rims on it.
What year was this?
Yeah, this was 97, 98.
So right before Fast and Furious.
Right. And that was the cool thing on the blog. So I did that, and I actually ran into a friend of mine at the gym. And he joined the military right after high school. And he pretty much told me how easy the military was. His job was a supply specialist. So all he did was go into an office, order supplies, and make sure whenever they came that, take inventory of everything else. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. I could do that. and he was on vacation back in Miami. He was actually living in Germany at the time. And I figure, I'm like, oh shoot, cool. I mean, you know, what are the stipulations? You know, I mean, because my friend, Colombian guy, kind of similar story, a little bit different. My parents migrated to the States, but he joined the military as a permanent resident. I became a permanent resident myself through the NACARA law. Back in 2000, President Bill Clinton passed, at the time, passed the law that any Nicaraguan that had applied for political asylum to the United States that arrived in the country before November of 1994 was applicable to apply for legal residency. I made, you know, the cusp right there almost. I came to the United States in September 27, 1994. So I became a legal resident with that, and I had all the requirements to join the military. And they told me, it's like, look, they give you money to go to school.
Real quick, hold on. A resident is different from a citizen.
Correct.
So can you like just give a brief, just kind of?
The green card.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And American citizens can vote.
American citizens can vote.
They can't be deported.
As a permanent resident, you can't vote. You can be deported if you commit a crime. Residents. Well, now with the Trump administration, it is there's a very thin line.
Recently, the TPS was canceled by the Trump administration.
Right.
So Nicaraguans were mostly affected by this. That by January of 2019, if you don't find a different way to identify legally in the United States, you're being kicked out. And TPS was kind of incorporated for those people, especially like during 1998, during Hurricane Mitch in Central America, that really displaced a lot of poor Central Americans. They came here. So now people who have been here for over 20 years are pretty much being kicked out if they don't make up their mind in the next year.
Correct.
Or so. Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean,
so you're 17 or 18 at this point?
19.
You're 19. So you're like, I'm gonna go to the military.
Yeah.
Cause did you feel like there was like an either or, like if I don't go to the military, I'm gonna end up here? Did you feel like that, or what was?
No, I mean not at all. I mean I had like I said. I mean I was blinded by money. I had 2 jobs. My mind at the time was, hey, my vehicle, girls, and just money. And I wasn't thinking anything about education, traveling. I didn't care. To me, my mind was just where it was. And talking to him, it seemed, you know, like a good idea. It was very easy, the way he made it out to be. Get to travel. I wanted to get the hell out of Miami. And I was, hey, sign me up. I went to the recruiter station. Everybody knows. You can Google it. Recruiters. They go through this, extensive training to not to brainwash you, but to sell you what you want to hear. As a matter of fact, I remember this comedian, Cat Williams, in one of his comedy shows. He says, "It's like, has anybody been watching the fucking elections?" You know, and it's like, yeah, when you watch the shit at like 2 a.m., it's like this shit is like personal. It's like, do you require better healthcare? Yes, I do. You know, what do you think about the economy? It's like you start to think like this motherfucker knows you personally. So recruiters are like that. Recruiters will tell you everything that you want to hear. So my job was a petroleum supply specialist. The way he made it out to be, though, I was gonna be like this fucking chemist. I saw myself with the little lab coat and everything else. So yeah, sign me up.
Bill, not the science guy.
Yeah. And took an oath and joined the military.
U.S. Army.
Yeah, in the United States Army, and I checked out. You know, I didn't want to wait.
Real quick, at this point, you had a Nicaraguan citizenship because you were born there,
right?
But you had an American residency.
But I was a permanent resident of the United States of America.
Yeah, I'm just trying to set a foundation for what we're gonna get to. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And then after that, I really enjoyed the military. It taught me so many things: structure, discipline. I'm not saying that I didn't have any, but it was more in the lines of what I wanted, how I wanted myself, what I wanted to develop myself to be. And after being in the military for 3 years, I decided to join Special Forces. I wanted to be, the elite team of the military. I trained myself physically, mentally, as much as I could, and I did it. I fell twice. Actually, I never told this story to anybody, but the first part of the training is what we call a Q course, and it's just 6 weeks of, physical. Team building and mainly physical more than anything, and I felt that twice, and I was motivated. I'm very persistent on everything that I do, and I decided to go a third time, and I made it after the third time, and after the entire training was done, and it takes 2 years, I was able to finish successfully, and I got put into a team. Now, right before I joined the Special Forces, one of the requirements was that I needed to be a U.S. citizen. Being in the military, fortunately my paperwork got processed through a little faster than normal. They saw that I was a good candidate, I was motivated, I had all the requirements except that I was not a U.S. citizen.
Real quick, can you tell us a little bit about Special Forces training? Or you said it takes 2 years,
right?
And you said also that you failed twice. That means that you had to apply for special forces. It's not like you can just click a box and then just go to Special Forces.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you have to put in. You have to put in a packet. There are certain requirements that you have to meet before you actually get selected to go to what they call a school date. Once I got my school date, I shipped out, I started the course, and then, right at the beginning they tell you, hey, listen, it's pretty much a gentleman's course. You're not going to get questioned whether you want to finish the course or not. At some point, because this is built to break you down, right? Because in order to mold you to what you need to be, so you need to get broken down. So you need to have all those bad habits that you bring in from the regular military and get broken down so that they can build you stronger into what you need to be.
So real quick, so you went through regular military training, basic training, and you made it into the military. Now you want to be part of the most elite team in the U.S. Army, and now you have to retry again.
Right.
Basically, right? And real quick, you and I talked about this a little bit about Green Berets. Formerly, they were really that was just the term, right? Green Berets, before Special Forces existed, it was just Green Berets.
Well, it's always been Special Forces Green Beret. So okay. Most people relate to Green Beret. I don't know if anybody's seen Rambo. He was Special Forces Green Beret, and it's funny. I wanted to put that out there because he didn't even know. I
didn't. I texted him about it.
He's known me 5 years, and he's like, "Yo, Elio, I didn't know the Special Forces was Green Berets." I was like, "What else did you think it was?"
And Green Berets are known to be Special Forces to be the most badass people, in the army,
Right.
Yeah. But then, you said you failed twice. As an immigrant, so again, I'm thinking about this immigrant kid. Poor kid coming from Nicaragua, coming to the United States. You failed twice to be in the U.S. Special Forces, but you tried a third time. Did you ever think about, damn, I'm an immigrant. I'm not from this country. Why am I trying to serve this bad? What is up with this? Did you ever think about that?
Well, no, not really. At the time I was already a citizen. Because part of the requirements before you go into Special Forces is you have to be a U.S. citizen. I was grateful. The United States military allowed me to become a citizen a lot faster than I would have if I was a civilian. It's not saying that it was my form of repayment. I love the United States of America, don't get me wrong. mean, the United States of America has allowed me the opportunity to have the kind of life I do now. Now, the United States of America didn't come to me personally and say, hey, here, boom, here it is. I think I have the exact same opportunities that, you know, any capable human being does. Whether you go out there and look for them or not, that's totally on you. But I mean,
and some people also aren't afforded that opportunity.
Right. Yeah, there's walls that you have to cross, but you know you have to go in there mindful of that, right? Like for instance, like I love sports. All right. What if Jackie Robinson, would have never done, what he did? I mean, baseball wouldn't be what it is today. Mm. All right. I mean, to me, I was the only Hispanic in my class. When I graduated from Q course, and I mean, the opportunities are there. You have to make them for yourself, in a way, and you have to be, motivated. You really want to, have to do it. To me, it was being grateful. The United States Army allowed me to become a citizen, sooner than I would have. One thing I didn't like too much. When I went into special forces, because of security clearance purposes and all that, I had to renounce, my Nicaraguan citizenship, because Nicaragua, it's a communist country. But at the end of the day, they didn't take anything away from me. I mean, I'm from Nicaragua. Nobody can ever take that away from me. I was born in Nicaragua. I was raised in Nicaragua. I tell people that I'm from Nicaragua. But I also love the United States. I mean, the United States, it's, the land where I live. It's my home. It's my family's home. Earlier, today, Herson asked me a very good question. He's like, well, what do you think about, patriotism? What is being patriotic to you?
Real quick, right before we get there, because we got some more people joining. So to recap, you joined the U.S. Army. After 3 years, you decided to go into Special Forces. And how long were you in Special Forces?
All the way up until I got out. 8 years.
8 years. So you were in the military for over a decade.
Right.
Did you ever go on any tours while you were in the military?
Yes.
Do you mind telling us what tours or how many tours you went on?
Well, I went to Iraq twice. I went to Afghanistan once. I did a couple tours in the Middle East. That I told them I'm not going to talk about. But yeah, I went to Iraq twice. I went to Afghanistan once.
Yeah.
It was really tough. But man, it was a war zone. And we always managed to look at the bright side, no matter the situation. I was also in Japan when the tsunami happened. I mean, it was catastrophic. I helped, clean, some of these sites, and it was horrifying. So a war is pretty much the same thing. There's going to be, disasters. There's going to be death. There are going to be tons of, unnecessarily and unwilling death. You're going to see a lot of women and children, people that don't deserve to die. I mean, to me, honestly, nobody deserves to die. I mean, when it's your time, it's your time. Regardless of your belief, hey, we're human. Our flesh dies. It's just inevitable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was sad. But there's light at the same time. I got to interact with tons of individuals. One of the reasons that Herson and I always have conversations like this is I hate when they categorize everybody as a terrorist. I mean, yeah, it was very few that contributed to 9/11 and some of the terrorist attacks.
About 8 people.
Like that. But it doesn't classify an entire region, and an entire section of the world.
You speak Arabic.
Correct.
And you are...
I speak one,
dialect?
The dialect
of Arabic.
Yeah.
But you're also very appreciative of the Middle East. You're very respectful of it. I've seen you interact with people from the Middle East. I've seen you speak Arabic. at the most random places, and it's a high respect for them. And I'm trying to make a point with this, that many people that I've heard talk about terrorism in the Middle East, talk about terrorism, they always refer to people from the Middle East. And when they talk about immigration, they're telling people to go back to their country. So you are a person who is extremely unique, or you would be unique to them, because you're an immigrant. You are not just Army, but you're also applied to these special forces and went through all that training and made it through, and was in that for multiple years. And you're also respectful of the Middle East. You're not disrespecting them, you're not berating them. So you're a very unique situation. But Americans sometimes who have not served for this country don't have that mentality, but yet you do. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, he asked me right before the show, right? And I don't know if anybody that's joined knows, but only 1% of the population of the entire United States serves in the military. And, the military is very diverse. There's people from, all over the world that served in the military, but the United States of America, right? It's a great country, it's so powerful, but at the same time, spoils and damages, the minds of certain individuals. Those are the individuals that say, well, you know what, all terrorists are, just from the Middle East. Why? Because, 8 people or 9 people had part in, 9/11, right? But, there's more terror here in the homeland than there actually is, coming from the outside world, right? Or from the outside.
And we've been seeing this a lot more recently.
Exactly, and you see it a lot more, recently. People just disgruntled.
We're in Texas this past Sunday.
Here in Texas, Texas, it's a state that believes in the Second Amendment. It's very easy to obtain, weapons, but an individual that calls his home, this is the land of the free, right? And goes out and commits, a terror attack. To me, that's terrorism. You're terrorizing, your own community, your own home, your own land, your own country. So terror is not, to me, it's not, categorized or geared to just one specific individual, one specific region. We're all humans, we all make mistakes. And just like there is, tons of bad people in the Middle East, there's double the amount of great and good people in the Middle East. And you just have to be open-minded about it.
And then there's also innocent lives in the Middle East. They're asking what branch of the military are you in?
Army.
Yeah, U.S. Army. So again, I'm trying to make a point with all this because you, I think, are an intersection of a lot of identities, right? Immigrant, now American, having to reject your citizenship to your own country to accept this one, to be defending this country, and it's just so complicated. I was gonna comment in on the shooter. Oh yeah, feel free to comment on terrorism in the United States. So how do you define patriotism? Because that's a word that recently has been thrown around a lot. People are saying that there are ways of disrespecting the flag, the U.S. flag, and if you disrespect it, or if we think you disrespect it, that's a sign of not being a patriot. So you, as someone who's in the military for this country, served this country over 10 years, how do you define patriotism?
Well, he asked me this question actually earlier when we were on our way home. And I told him, patriotism to me is, family, right? To me, I show love, respect, honesty, and everything for my family, all right? And then for my home, Right now, the United States of America is my home. This is my land. I'm very, patriotic to this. I was very glad, and so I've had the pleasure to serve, for the United States of America to continue to be the greatest nation in the world. This is the land of opportunities. Everybody it is free. And to an extent that to me that's some of the problem that we're so free that things like the shooting happens, right? It can be controlled. It can, we need to regroup, but to me that's patriotism. As far as the flag, we spit on the flag pretty much every day. We have fucking little magnets that you put on the refrigerator. It gets put on, a Budweiser bottle. It's very American. The American beer is brewed here in the United States. Greatest American beer. And someone decides to, hey, like the football player, say, hey, let me take a knee or whatever for the national anthem. He has his right. What's the problem? It doesn't bother me. Right, because when I took an oath, I took an oath that I was going to defend, this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? It says that in the oath, right? So you know that enemies are not only going to be foreign. You're going to have enemies here in the United States. Some of the same people that call this home are gonna turn, against their own home, and that's where you see, terrorism against your own homeland, and it's sad to see that people don't call it that, but that's what it is. So to me, being patriotic is it's having the love, and respect for my family, my home, my land, and right now is everything to me is my family, the United States, it's my home, and
So we have some questions here.
What's that?
Amber's asked, so we have two questions. Amber's asking, any particular reason why you chose the Army?
Well, my friend was in the Army. Remember I told you guys that I ran into a friend at the gym, and he was in the Army, and he was a supply specialist, and it seemed like a good gig. He was like, it's very easy. You don't do anything. You don't do shit. I was like, all right, boom, sign me up.
All right, so here's the second question. How do you feel about them not flagging him and he was still able to purchase weapons after abusing his wife and stepson? About the recent shooter here in Texas.
Well, that's the thing,
and he was also he was an Air Force person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also military.
Look at the guy that shot up Fort Lauderdale Airport, right? He was in the military as well. This guy went through security. Checked his bag with weapons and everything. Picked up his bag and
at baggage check. At baggage thing. Yeah.
And started going off and spraying rounds everywhere. The system is there are systems in place, right? It's not particularly a fault in the system. Because being honest, how many times have you broken any rules, right? How many times have you said to yourself, oh yeah, those are fucking rules, they're more like guidelines, how many times us as individuals know that, hey, if I have one beer or two beers and I get pulled over, I'm gonna get a DUI, but fuck it, I'm gonna risk it. So we always try to push the limit to see how much we can get away with. It's the same thing. There's systems in place. He should have been flagged, but there's also so many systems in place to get around stuff like that, right?
He was also a white male.
Exactly. So
had he been a black male, I'm not sure how that would have worked out.
It could have been, it could have been questionable. Here in Texas, in the town where it happened,
small town.
They might not, think anything of it. He's probably just buying another, hunting weapon, or I don't know what you're gonna hunt with an AR-15, but
because an AR-15 has been the weapon that has been used a lot recently for mass killing. Sandy Hook, the massacre of elementary school children, right? And so many other examples that we could give. I posted it on Woke Wednesdays. So as a military person, do you think that civilians should have access to military weapons? I don't know if you feel comfortable answering that.
Well, the thing about it is, right? All right, being in the military, and I was part of a group that I tested M4s.
What's that?
An M4 is a semi-automatic weapon that replaced the M16. And we were, we were at the last stage of the testing part of the weapon before it was made available to the regular military, regular army. And so, now you can actually purchase the weapon, pretty much anywhere. And you have to have a special license, and special requirements. But I think it's a problem because as we advance, in technology, we also advance in weaponry, right? So all the old stuff gets, put aside, and it becomes available to the public. I don't think it should. I think it should be better controlled, I guess, because civilians are not equipped. And notice I said civilians, right? They're not equipped to handle a piece of machinery with the same extent as a person in the military with the training.
But it's not just that though. It's not just training.
Yeah.
We're also looking for intentions, because this man also had, and I'm using the Air Force, the most recent person, as an example, because this person also had priors on his criminal record regarding certain things that he had done. I think he had assaulted some people or something. So because we often don't take into account PTSD in people who have military experience and also access to weapons and what they're going to do once they are a civilian. Because there was a young man here again in Texas, at a Texas base a couple years ago, who shot up at a military base. Yeah. So it seems to me that we don't just need gun control, which some people tend to result to, we need gun control, and I think we do, but I think it's also more complex than that. What are we doing for our military personnel who just came back from war? What are we doing for our police officers, right?
First of all, I mean, the Veterans Affairs has a shitty fucking program. They don't take care of fucking veterans. I mean, maybe 3 out of the 10 homeless, people that you see, they're probably fucking military veterans.
You said 3 out of 4 homelands?
Three out of the 10 homeless people that you see, there might be military, veterans. But back to the gun issue, right? I don't think that the country needs a, gun control. I mean, there are steps and requirements that you need to go through, to order to, obtain a weapon. I mean, I think that the person that asked, the question said, he abused, his partner or whatever. I mean, one of the requirements is if you have a domestic violence charge, on your record, you're not allowed to purchase a weapon, unless that's changed. And I'm saying just dumb shit, but that's one of the requirements,
But one of the other things is that we resort to policy for everything. It seems that anytime something goes wrong, we always need a policy, a legislation to go into law so this doesn't happen again. Like you said earlier, people break laws all the time, especially when you have a small town like where this guy was from. You can go to Walmart and you can get a manager to quickly scan something and boom, you got a gun. So it doesn't always come down to laws. Sometimes it just comes down to, in regard to military, how are we also taking care of our veterans post-trauma, tours? So to me, it's a lot more complex than just gun control.
And that's a system that needs to, that needs a little work. That's a system that needs to be the focus. I mean, what are you doing? So okay, yeah, well, we have systems in place. We have therapists. We have no, you don't. I mean, one thing is you're understaffed. Another thing is you don't want to spend the money to outsource. I mean, this freaking war, in Iraq and Afghanistan has caused, the United States of America like $5.6 trillion when it was supposed to have been like 1.7 when everything started, right? I mean,
I did not know that. Wow.
Where are the funds going, right? I mean, funds are going, to destruction rather than, building. What are you doing for all these veterans? I mean, it's not just, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, right? I mean, you still have veterans from freaking, the little ones that are still alive from World War II, from Vietnam, that are struggling, So now with this, and again, with technology and the new technology and weaponry, you have all these soldiers, without the proper systems in place, and then what are they gonna do? Yeah, they might go and say, well, you know what, the system didn't take care of me. I'm all disgruntled. It's easy for me to go get a weapon and then shoot up something. And then they say, well, he had PTSD and stuff like that. Yeah, but what is the issue? The issue is not gun control. The issue is that he wasn't taken care of, right?
So there are root problems.
Exactly.
So to even say gun control, it's more of a band-aid on a wound as opposed to getting to the root problem. Real quick, Soul of a Butterfly is saying, I do believe there should be some kind of gun control. Frustrating is people who want them to protect get screwed with these policies, and these shooters still are able to get their hands on them.
I mean, guns are pretty easy to get. To get. I mean, how many times? You watch a movie and somebody goes and buys a freaking gun from this guy, Joe Snuffy, and in the corner from the hood of his car, or from the trunk of his car, right? The problem, there's an overflow. Yes, what happens when the country goes into war? There's mass productions of all this weaponry, right? Now the country's still at war, right? But there's still all these weapons, out there. They're easily obtainable. So I really don't think that gun control is the issue. The issue is taking care of one another the way we're supposed to, right? Yeah. If he's having a problem, he might not want to talk about it, but I might just hey, what's going on with you? Are you feeling all right? He might not want to open up to me. He might want to open up to someone else. But hey, listen, look for those key points, right?
Yeah.
What if one day I decide to tell him, you know what, dude, I'm fucking frustrated at the system. Fuck the president. Fuck all this bullshit. I'm just gonna go buy a weapon and shoot up everybody. Right? He might see it as a red flag. Oh man, shit. Hey, you all right? So take care of the individual, right? Because nobody decides, to go to sleep tonight and then wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm gonna go get me a weapon and I'm gonna shoot a bunch of fucking people, right? It's not thought out,
So we have a special guest tonight, a special guest. It's our first appearance of probably the cutest guest that we've ever had on the show.
This is my son.
Elio's recently born. Give us some hearts if you dig babies. Go ahead, throw some hearts. I know y'all want to throw some hearts for the baby.
This is the best therapy any human person can have. Best therapy in the world.
You're
right?
getting all the hearts right
so,
now. Oh
I mean, why? I mean, we talk about gun control and we talk about all this, right? This is therapy right here, right? This should be all the reason you have to live, to look forward, to have motivation. Yeah, I saw a lot of bad things, a lot of crazy things in my life. I mean, my time in the military, politics. I think it's all screwed up and everything. But you know what? This little man, that's the motivation.
They're asking, so they're throwing a bunch of hearts, and they're asking how old is he?
He's gonna be 11 months tomorrow.
He doesn't speak any English. He only speaks Spanish.
But he's gonna speak English, Spanish, Arabic, Japanese, maybe some French. We'll see.
And the mom is right here making faces. But yeah, so I think it's a great note to kind of end it on. So let me hold the nephew. I got you. And he just started walking too. We're about to end. Yeah. And you're cool. Here. So if you could kind of give like some closing words to everybody, what would you kind of give them?
Well, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be on the show. I know he had been trying really hard to get me over here. I had a great time talking about military. Maybe if I'm in Miami one day, maybe we could catch another show and talk a little bit more about the military. To me, there is problems. All right, everything that's going on in the world right now is not new. It's been going on since the start of civilization. If it wasn't the Romans, it was the Egyptians. Now it's the Middle Eastern and then the United States of America. It's all the separation stupidity that people cause. I'm an American. Well, hey Jack, I'm an American too. I'm just Central American. You might be North American, or he might be South American, but we're all Americans, right? This is the Americas. So it's humanity. We should all just come together. The cycle of life. What do? We have the gift to create life, and that should be the motivation for everybody. I'm very blessed. That my parents gave me the opportunity, when they migrated to this country, and I did okay for myself. All right, I'm very proud that I got to serve this country. I was part of that 1% that keeps this country safe, keeps this country free, and it just.
I'm laughing because he wants to get away.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. I mean, if you guys ever want to have me again, I'm more than happy to be on the show.
I'm not a very good baby person, as you can see. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I know we're ending early tonight. We got a baby on the show, so we got to take care of the baby too. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything, for your service to this country, for your time to just being on the show and enlightening us, sharing your insights, sharing your experiences. Oh, now you want to come back? So thank you, everybody, so much. Thank you for tuning in. Next week, Violence Against Women, Part 2. We're coming to you live from Miami once again. And Elio, thank you so much.
What's not beautiful about that? Look, Nicaraguan with Colombian and Venezuelan.
Everybody's clapping, throwing hands up, giving you hearts. I'm telling you, I have to babysit more often. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you. We'll catch you next week. Violence Against Women, Part 2. It's going to be great. Ramonito, say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Elio, thank you, brother.
Thanks everyone for having me on the show. Hope you liked it.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you so much for everything. Everybody said thank you. Oh, Mario logged on. Said thank you. Yeah. All right, y'all. Take care. Have a good night.